This is the Wheel of Time Spoilers podcast.
Shall we talk about hot tamales?
Hot tamales. He does get rather hot in this section.
Talmanes? Talmanes? However you want to say it.
Talmanes. I want to say it Talmanes. That's my preferred pronunciation.
Talmanes?
Tall mayonnaise.
Tall mayonnaise?
I want any of that short mayonnaise. Only the tall stuff. Yeah, so we are starting A Memory of Light today.
Yes, the final book in the Wheel of Time. We've done the prologue. We've done new seasons.
That's a grocery store.
Did you do the quick edit on the final episode and get that out?
Yep, I did. It will be coming out on 2 days from now. Yeah, and then we'll be off for a week, and then this episode will come out.
What did I call it? Did I call it something other than New Spring, Dr. Pants?
You called it New Seasons. The grocery store. That's a hippie store up here. Well, not really a hippie store.
God.
It's a take all your money store.
Yeah, that's a new paycheck is what that is.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, what's the name for that one? I know it's Whole Wallet for Whole Foods.
Yeah, Whole Wallet, new paycheck.
Yeah, new paycheck. Yeah, this episode will be coming out on the 13th of August.
Okay. But yeah, no, it's kind of amazing to get this far, to be on the last book and be like, well, we've planned out the last book in the series.
And it'll be a journey. We'll change it up. But we are starting with the prologue being split into 3 parts because it's a long prologue, because it's a prologue and it has to be long. And there was so many POVs in it that we were like, how are we going to do this? How are we going to do this? And Seth went and spreadsheeted it out and realized that fully half of it, every other POV, is Talmanes. So we're going to start with all of Talmanes' POVs. In this episode.
Just knock that out.
Just do that. It's going to be Talmanes for the prologue, and then we will do 2 more episodes where we do 3 and 3 POVs of everything that is peppered in between Talmanes in this section that we're going to do today. So in 3 weeks, we will have finished the prologue, as is our usual style.
And I will say that, this book is going to switch POVs much faster than the other books. We are in the Sanderlanche. We're going to get like a mini Sanderlanche in this, prologue. The Talmanes section of this prologue is like a little mini novella that Sanderson wrote and stuck in the beginning of this book. And he created this character loosely based on the pre-existing Talmanes, but this is almost a new character with a new story from start to finish, where he sort of tells a little novella is what I would call it.
Yeah, I feel like he set himself up to expand Talmanes into a full character. Last book, he was really doing a lot of work to be like, okay, all right, I'm going to make this guy cool. And then here is like the unfolding out of the box moment where it's like, aha, all of that folding and packing and crafting is going to pay off. Here is Talmanes expanding and inhabiting the space that Sanderson was telling us he wanted to make.
And right now, I've also gone through the last battle for those of you who are curious. And essentially what I'm looking at is how many POVs are we doing in each chapter? And it turns out, if you combine 2, there's about 3 on average in this book. There's about 3 to 4 POVs per chapter. And we're mostly going to be doing 2 chapters per episode. So that's about 6 to 8 POVs per episode. So when I continue that into the last battle, and I pretty much continue doing 6 to 8 POVs per episode of the last battle. And I think that takes us to about 8 to 10 episodes, depending on how quickly we get through them. So that tells you that there are 64 to 70 POVs in the chapter, the last battle.
Oh, even with repeats, that's too many.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And there was no, I was not going to go through and try and do one character at a time. Like, we're going to do it in order. We're just going to, chunk it up. And this is the plan. That does not mean we will stick to the plan.
Right. Yeah. That is the plan for something we're not going to get to for like 6 months. So
right. And then when we hit it, who knows? Yeah. But yeah, I feel like it works pretty well because we're just telling all of Talmanes' story really quick, and then we can go back and do the other ones.
Yeah. Yeah, because we got to keep ourselves engaged and moving forward and also not making this harder and more confusing than it needs to be. But yesterday and today, I have done all of my note-taking for the entire prologue, and I think that this breakdown makes a lot of sense. Because, again, prologue, right? Just the way prologues work, like this way of compressing it.
Sure.
I don't know. I feel like starting with this blast of Talmanes and then going into the more, like, flickery POV thing is just... It made me feel good, so I'm going to assume our audience is going to like it.
Oh, I guess I should read us in.
Oh my God, do it!
All right.
Okay, go to page 2, because that's where he actually starts. And this chapter is called By Grace and Banners Fallen, which is a fantastic title. We get that line in this first chunk of Talmanes' POV. It's just all so glorious. Take it away.
We should really also, before we even start that, we have to do the quote, the prophecy in the beginning. We skipped right over that.
No, we have to go back and do that.
And the shadow fell upon the land, and the world was riven, stone from stone. The oceans fled, and the mountains were swallowed up, and the nations were scattered to the 8 corners of the world. The moon was as blood, and the sun was as ashes. The seas boiled, and the living envied the dead. All was shattered, and all but memory lost, and one memory above all others, of him who brought the shadow and the breaking of the world, and him they named the dragon. From Alith Nin Terran Ala Kamora, The Breaking of the World, author unknown, The Fourth Age. Do you think this is referring to the last battle or the breaking of the world? Because I feel like this is of the breaking of the world.
Yeah, it does give me a breaking of the world vibe. I feel like the living envied the dead is a line that has existed in other quotes that are specifically referencing the breaking of the world.
And also they're naming the dragon, not the dragon reborn.
Yeah. And also, it is titled The Breaking of the World, but...
Well, I guess it's referring back to the old breaking of the world. We're not talking about the last battle. Because in context, you'd be like, oh, are we talking about like the last battle? Is this what's going to happen in this book?
Yeah, no, for sure. It's like, you had me in the first half. It's one of those. Like, this is clearly about what's happening in this book. Mm-hmm. And then, yeah, it turns out that they're talking about 3,000 years ago. And it's just like, the wheel of time turns and when memory fades to myth and all that jazz.
This is the memory. Right? This is the memory that's come back. This is the memory in Rand's head.
All but memory lost.
Yeah, this is the memory. Because Rand is the one who has this memory of the person who broke the world.
Yeah. And him they named Dragon. Very circular.
Right. I mean, if you want to take it literally, what is this memory of? Of the light that Lews Therin called down upon himself to kill himself, right? Rand has that memory of that light that we saw in the prologue, right? We're coming back around to that moment of Lews Therin calling down the one power upon himself. Not Balefire, I don't believe.
Not Balefire, no. Just plasma. That's my canon. It's plasma.
That makes sense to me. Like, he's just creating a column of, like... I mean, the amount of power it takes to drill down to the mantle, right? Insane.
Yeah, and he, like, vaporizes the air such that there's these, like, massive winds rushing in to fill the void. Like, plasma does that. Plasma is what rips the very molecules apart down to their constituent atomic particles. Like, yeah. Oh, and actually, we have to skip all the way forward to page 8 before we get to Talmanes, not page 2.
Second POV, because we're skipping Bayard. The White Cloaks, or not the White Cloaks, the rebels. Yeah,
Jared Saran's forces that get all their metal taken away. We're not getting to him until next week.
I don't think Balefire is plasma. Balefire is its own unique thing that changes the nature of the pattern.
Agreed. Plasma is the nearest thing we have to Balefire in the real world, but Balefire is like plasma squared.
And in a lot of ways, lightning is plasma, right? Not in a lot of ways. Scientifically, lightning is plasma, right?
Yeah.
So, we know they can call down lightning and think of that just in a giant column form.
Right. He did more of like a sun-coated sort of plasma, less lightning-y, more fire and sun stuff, but yeah. And then Balefire is just like even more so at like a magical level.
My favorite little fact that I've been hearing lately on the internet is, the sun's not on fire.
No, absolutely not. There's no oxygen in space.
No.
In space, no one can burn you. You need oxygen for that. It is a ball of plasma. It's a ball of nuclear radiation and dust that's getting, smashed together by its own weight. It's not fire. Anyway, Talmanes.
All right. Talmanes. Talmanes tugged on Selfar's reins, making the horse dance and shake his head. The roan seemed eager. Perhaps Selfar sensed his master's anxious mood. The night air was thick with smoke and screams. Talmanes marched the band alongside a road clogged with refugees, smudged with soot. They moved like flotsam in a muddy river. The men of the band eyed the refugees with worry. "Steady!" Talmanes shouted to them. "We can't sprint all the way to Camlyn. Steady!" He marched the men as quickly as he dared, nearly at a jog. Their armor clanked. Elaine had taken half the band with her to the field of Marilor, including Edstein and most of the cavalry. Perhaps she had anticipated needing to withdraw quickly. Well, Talmanes wouldn't have much use for the cavalry in the streets, which were no doubt as clogged as this roadway. Selfar snorted and shook his head. They were close now, the city walls just ahead, black in the night, held an angry light. It was as if the city were a fire pit.
By grace and banners fallen. That's the next line.
By grace and banners fallen, Talmanes thought with a shiver. It's like just a curse.
It's so beautiful. It's a really pretty way of saying foobar, right? It's just, we're so fucked. We're so fucked. But it's a pretty way of saying it. But yeah, this is, we saw him last with Ulver at the end of the last book, looking at Camlyn and seeing an unnerving amount of red glow from the fact that the city was starting to go up in flames. Now we're picking up as they finish their approach from the camp to the city. And the city is on fire and disgorging refugees. And their goal is to fight their way inside to get to the dragons. It's like hell on earth right out the gate, right to start, right at the very beginning of all this. They are being asked to walk into, like the civil equivalent of a volcano.
Right.
But, the dragons are absolutely critical war technology. If the Dark Friends, if the Shadow gets them, that's worse than losing their functionality in the fight against the Shadow, right? There's a twofold thing here. If we can't retrieve them, at least we can destroy them, right? This is a very desperate mission.
And he's looking at the refugees saying time he'd spent with Matt made him wish there was more he could offer these people. That feels very Sanderson to me. That feels very tell and not show, right? Because Jordan would have him give the refugee some money or grab a kid and pull him up on the back of the horse or, do something. Whereas, again, I just feel like Sanderson's like, oh, yeah, no, he wants to help people. He's changed now that he's hanging out with Matt. He's a better person. And let me tell you that he's a better person.
He literally says, it was downright strange the effect Matrim Cawthon had on a person. Talmanes looked at common folk in a very different light now. And I'm like, yeah, those two sentences and some other ones, I'm like, one of those sentences, not all five.
Yes, right.
Because I like the idea that Talmanes has changed in response to being around Matt. The Taviran nature of it, Matt's general charisma, like the idea that Talmanes has changed is so believable to me, rather than that he's still the same person he always was. But yeah,
sure.
Maybe be like, you know what? Maybe my horse is not going to do me much good in here. I'll give it to this family, which has, like grandmas and babies in it or whatever. Like that would be the way to show that instead of using 5 sentences to reiterate the point.
And then at the end of the thing, he's like, oh, I pointed the cannons at the refugees and they ducked in time. Like that's his,
things are very desperate by then. He is drunk and dying at that point.
Yeah.
So
but still, like that's how he shows his regard for the people, is like, duck.
Well, also at that point, him and Aludra were actively planning to set off the dragons in such a way that it would kill the refugees anyhow.
Right,
so he's gone from I'm definitely going to kill you to you have a chance to duck. So really it's an upgrade at that point.
Jesus Christ.
Like it's not a good time. He's not going into a good situation.
So it's like instead of showing, Sanderson will tell, show you the opposite.
Yeah. It's why we suspect we will get through this book at a different pace than a Jordan book. Aside from how long we're going to spend bitching about it, which,
I was like, we'll make up the time. Don't worry. No. But the thing is, no. But I'm complaining about that now. But then the next note I have is how much I just really love the action-packed scene and how well it's written and how much I really enjoy, the fight that Talmanes goes through. And so like there's things about this book that I'm really happy that Sanderson did. We got a lot of fight action scenes that are very visual and very visceral in a way that I do think that was a way to tell the end of the story that made people happy, because they got to feel like they saw the last battle. And I think that was so important to finish these books and to show people the last battle and how that happens and the fight. And like, there's not very many authors who I think could have pulled that off as well as Sanderson did.
Jordan could have.
Yes, obviously. That's why I said not many.
Yeah, no, for sure. God, his action scenes are good. The visuals are so visceral. His characters are just a little ham-fisted, yeah. But
sometimes the character development, yeah. Sometimes they just tell you what they're thinking, and it's just very obvious that that's what they're thinking.
So basically what's happening here that is relevant is this whole concept of the mercenaries.
Yeah.
That there's a bunch of mercenaries sitting around with their thumbs up their butts going, we don't have orders, so we're going to just stand here and wait for someone to tell us what to do. And, Talmanes makes them a really good offer. But they need someone to come by and kind of kick him in the pants. He sort of has to inhabit that Matt Cawthon, Taviran thing of getting people to move and to step into the pattern instead of just being on the sidelines because, no one's told them that they're paid to do this yet.
And sort of a big overarching theme is getting the refugees out of the city, right? We even see here the city's going to become a death trap soon. There aren't enough ways out, right? And of course, he has to make his own way out with the cannons at the end, right? But then that's sort of the foreshadowing here to say, we don't have a good way out. And so a big part of what he's trying to do, A, is rescue the cannons, but also secure the gate so that refugees and the cannons can get out of the city. And so, we'll see the strategy in the next POV.
Right. Yeah, no, Talmanes tries to leave himself a way out. And then he realizes he has the key in his hand the whole time. Kind of like Matt, but a bit more destructively.
Right. But they're both keys to get out.
Yeah.
They're both exit keys.
Yeah. I mean, Talmanes and Matt have a lot of parallels going here. Their backs is against a wall, and suddenly they realize they had the key in their hand the whole time.
Now, in this first POV, has he been hit with a Murderall blade yet?
Oh, in the next POV, they're actively fighting. Yeah, no, he does not have the wound yet.
Okay, that's what I thought. This first POV, he is not wounded with the Murderall blade.
So in this first POV, he is still pre-wound Talmanes. This is a Talmanes who thinks he's going to live. This is a Talmanes who is worried about if he dies. When we go to the next POV, he is wrapping up a fight with a group that included a Murderall that nicked him.
Yeah, just ever so slightly nicked on the side. Which again, I mean, mirroring the Rand side wound, the Jesus wound, the, God, what's that called? The spear of Longinus, I believe.
Longinus.
Longinus.
I don't know how you say these things.
Which just sounds very vaginal for some reason.
Gine. Gine.
Yeah. The spear of Longinus, right? And so that whole like, oh my God, the sacrifice being stabbed in the side. I mean, that's the whole thing with Rand and his wound in the side, right? That's very Jesus of him. So whenever I see a wound in the side like that, one, it's like, it's just a place where storytellers can wound you without killing you immediately.
Yeah.
But you can't amputate.
Right. And if it's too deep, it's going to be fatal because internal organs are really hard to repair.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard. But
not fatal right away, that sort of thing.
Yeah. You can have a nice, long, agonizing death scene that takes an unrealistic amount of time for narrative purposes.
Is he going to die now?
And in Talmanes' case, he got hit with, one of the blades that's poisoned, right? So he knows it's fatal. And he got, like, the nat 1 on the roll of how the wounds can go. We learned that, like, Fade blades have a range of effects. It very much mirrors how the taint takes men who can channel, right? Some of them, it takes years. Some of them, it happens in just a few weeks. You kind of are seeing a parallel in that. And Talmanes got the shitty version.
Ooh, theory. Fades, we've discussed this before, right? When they created Trollocs, fades were an accident. Fades, we've theorized, are the souls of people who were the channelers, right? Souls of non-channelers, when you create Trollocs, become Trollocs. Souls of channelers become Murderall.
Right.
They're influenced by the taint, and using the swords kind of externalizes that taint onto other people rather than the Fades themselves being affected by it.
Yeah, totally. Because murdering innocent people doesn't seem like something that would specifically give you that taint, right? Like, it's obviously dark magic that adds evilness to it, but the way that this seems to mirror the taint itself, I like that. As like, yeah, the blade is open to your customization for being evil.
Right. And we've seen the process. We see it actually later in these books of how they create the swords.
We saw it earlier.
Is it earlier? I thought that was when Fael was...
She sees it too, but I think it's like Lord of Chaos in the prologue or something. Demon Dread goes striding by and sees how that works. I mean, he knows how it works, but we get to see how it works through his POV. I think, yeah, Fael does stumble across that space in this book, though.
Demandred in Sheol Ghul witnessing it. That's right. And he's like, oh, it's pathetic. We've only got like 20 people lined up to die, not thousands like normal.
Right, exactly.
He's
like
that,
never have I seen less than 50. This is ridiculous.
Right. And I gotta say, like, Talmanes fighting the Trollocs in a group, it makes Trollocs scary again. They've kind of become like, oh, Rand decapitates them left and right. Like, it's easy. And you kind of forget how big and threatening they are in the books. And again, I think Sanderson did a good job of bringing that threat back in, especially here in the beginning before we see lots and loads of them.
Right. Well, because he's taken away Matt with his special abilities and he's taken away all channelers, right? This band is back to normal, no super people, no Taviran people, just regular people having to fight Trollocs. And oh, yeah, those are scary. Those are real scary.
If you're just a bunch of red shirts,
Yeah, exactly. And so somewhere in this fight, Talmanes got hit. He's sort of still processing it. But they finished the fight, and basically they're pushing the Trollocs.
He killed that Murdral,
yes,
right? That's the important thing, right? So he gets that title later, Dreadbane, of someone who was able to kill a Murdral in a one-on-one fight. So, like, that is really impressive. Just, like, give him his due. Like, he got hit, but he did kill that Murdral.
Yeah, for sure. And so they've retaken the gate, right? The Trollocs are kind of overextended to get to the gate. So now they've, at least for now, have secured safe passage out of the city. And they've lost maybe 100 people, which is kind of a lot to lose. But it's also nothing in the face of all this.
Right. It's like, it's a lot to lose on a given day, but it's not a lot to lose when taking a gate in a city that's completely overrun when fighting Trollocs. Like, that's an amazingly low casualty count.
Right. Again, because they're working well in a team and have very good group cohesion. It's the band.
Because the band. I mean, the band is they're at this point almost a supernaturally talented group of soldiers, right? Like,
particularly as a group. Any one soldier is just a soldier, but their teamwork, their ability to be one cohesive unit, that is off the charts.
Mm-hmm. And it's because they believe in Matt Cawthon.
Yeah. And, he has this thought here about, oh, Matt's going to be mad I lost people, which would be a great show don't tell. And then he has to tell as well by saying, oh, Matt's so soft and kind and it's inspiring. It's like, just have the internal thought about how Matt's going to be mad at you. That was all we needed. Just Matt's going to be angry at me about that. Because that's the kind of thought you have when you know you're going to die and like small things start to be important. It's like, yeah, Matt's going to really tear me a new asshole when I get out of this, That's a good thought. But then Matt's so inspiring with how he cares about people. It's like, okay, yeah, we get it.
No, and Vuji has a good point that, like, a generational military leadership, so, like, we're training you the right way. You're not doing the right. I mean, I've worked in enough corporations to know that leadership makes a huge difference for what you end up doing day to day and how effective you are.
Standing on the shoulders of giants and not trying to reinvent the wheel is a really good way to actually be innovative and good at your job.
Question here. Talmanes wipes Trolloc blood off the blade because he says it's bad for it. But I thought Trolloc blood was normal. I mean, not that any blood is bad for blades, right? Because it can rust it over time. But he makes it sound like because I know Murdral blood etches the blades, right? That's a real problem.
I thought Trolloc blood did too.
I thought Trolloc blood was just normal, like pig blood or boar blood or human blood. I didn't think
I thought shadow spawn blood was a problem. I'm like thinking of Eye of the World isms, maybe?
I would love to know a different example of Trolloc blood being bad for blades, because I really thought that's what made Murdral blood special, is that it etched the blades, and Trolloc blood didn't. But I could very well be wrong about that.
Yeah, I'm like questioning everything I've ever known now, because I'm like, I thought it was all shadow spawn, but like, I'm just having vague memories of like Eye of the World era land being like, clean your blades because it's gonna be all rusted or whatever. I don't know. Oh, or Vuji's pointing out this could have been an oversight in editing the book, given that he did fight a Murdral. He would have had Murdral blood to wipe off of his sword, so maybe like that's what slipped by.
Should be Murderall blood was bad for the blade. Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. Their blood. So this is definitely, looking in the Murderall wiki, their blood is acidic and will etch steel. Right. For Murderall.
Wouldn't even our blood be acidic too? We're not perfectly neutral. We're not basic.
I think our blood is pretty. I think it's like 7.4 pH, but it's pretty goddamn close to neutral. Wow. Our body maintains homeostasis really effectively, no matter what you ingest.
Well, no, I know that. Is our body's natural pH 0? I don't know. I kind of assumed.
Well, it's definitely not 0.
Not 0.
Then we'd be
neutral. Not 0. I kind of thought that we were a little bit off to the side from true neutral.
Let's see. Maybe I'm getting... So normal blood pH has a range of 7.35 to 7.4.
You said 7.4. Yeah, so we're just a skosh on the acidic side. Oh, yeah, I guess it would be kind of similar.
No, a skosh on the basic side.
God damn it. I'm never going to get this right. I'm never going to get this. God, I took a year of chemistry in college, and I still can't remember which side of the pH scale goes with which word. At least I know I'm wrong. It's the your other left of it all,
Totally. It's when you're on a spectrum, which side you're going towards is, whatever. That's one of those things, like, if your blood is anywhere outside that range, you die fast. Like, that will kill you super, super fast. So the body works really, really hard to maintain a homeostasis of 7.4.
Look at the body broadly, but that doesn't mean our blood is. I mean, our stomachs obviously have very strong.
Oh, yeah. No, our body, no, but our blood.
So, like, I was like, where's our blood? Like, our blood is one of the things that's at that. Okay.
Our blood is 7.4. Yeah.
So maybe Murderall blood is like they just have stomach acid running in their veins. Real Bernie.
I just think of them as, the aliens from Alien. You know how they have the acid in their blood, right?
No.
Oh, okay. Once again, our pop culture sometimes does not overlap.
I should have seen Alien. I'm of the right age, but damn hippie upbringing where I still scream out at violence. Unless it's, in the Roman era or Dungeon Crawler Carl. But, God, that is rough. I am white knuckling it through some of those scenes.
Just the wiki on Trollocs does not say they have acidic blood, and the wiki on Murderall says they do. That's not proof.
Okay. Well,
but
I'm gonna think that's probably it was supposed to be Murderall blood was being bad for the blade.
I would agree with that he should have wiped off Murderall blood.
So Talmanes starts doing the very perfectly normal thing of trying to pack a pipe of tobacco with his second best pipe. He would never take his best pipe into battle.
Which is basically the shoes speech all over again.
Kind of.
Your best boots are for walking. Your second best are for doing, work.
Yeah, or coats.
Or, I don't know, going into battle. Even though I guess their second best boots are for, like, church and fancy things.
I'm glad it doesn't go on for as long as the boots speech. It's more like a single sentence. But he's doing that while he talks to the mercenaries and is like, so I'm dead. You're probably dead. You could be dead in a good way or a bad way. It's not a threat. It's just an observation. But here's the task if you want to die in a good way and maybe not die. Like, just so you know. Anyway, I'm going to light this pipe and go off and die heroically.
Well, because it is that, like, if we fail and you don't help us, they're going to murder you. If we succeed and you don't help us, we're going to murder you.
Right.
So you might as well help because, you might die in battle, but if you help us, we have a greater chance of surviving, and then you won't be hung up as a traitor at the end.
Right. And also, like, you'll probably die if you don't fight back. Like, the odds of us saving the world without everyone participating are pretty low. So, like, you might as well hedge your damn bets.
It's the last fucking battle. The number of people who have to turn, like, I feel like in the opening scene, we also have, which we haven't talked about yet, but in the opening POV, you have the soldiers saying to their commander, it's the last fucking battle. I don't care what you think anymore. We have to go fight that, right? This the whole, like, the last battle cuts all ties that bind.
Yeah, it's what Talmanes says, this is the beginning of the end, the fall of nations and the unification of humankind. That's what we're seeing is people going, oh, all of this other stuff is made up bullshit in my head. This is just all random shit we've agreed to. The last battle is real. It's real. We know what's happening in a way that, politics is ambiguous in a way that the last battle is not.
In a lot of ways, to me, the last battle and climate change have a lot of parallels. It's this existential crisis that's coming in the future that has a threat to our civilization that we need to unite against. And the parallels work really well, especially with the corrupt people who don't believe in it, who want to, continue to do profit stuff.
Yeah, it's so much bigger and more existential than anything that men can make,
Right. And it's like, it's time for us to pull together. I think the thing about this is it's an immediate threat, and climate change is unfortunately like a time-delayed threat.
Just enough to make it hard to get people to unify until it's too late, right?
Yeah, right.
We're in the beginning of the end, but the unification of humankind is not quite here, unfortunately.
But this is sort of when I want to talk to people about climate change. If you're lucky and the rest of us salvage this world without you, you'll draw breath long enough to be strung up by your cowardly neck, which they won't be. But
it's a nice thought, though, right? Because remember, the world is not dying. It is being killed by people with names and addresses. And this sentiment, definitely very easy to apply to the CEOs ruining our world from 1,000 different directions.
And then I always like the George Carlin quote, "The planet will be fine. The people are fucked."
Yeah.
The planet will bounce back eventually, right? We'll put a bunch of carbon. We'll destroy human civilization. We're not going to destroy life forever. And eventually we'll re-evolve complex life forms. The planet will continue on without people.
Yeah, no, it's as bad of a mass extinction event as this is. We still got nothing on the Great Dying. Right? Nothing we're going to do is going to come close to the Permian mass extinction event. We are 6th. Yes, we're not going to be number 1, though. I think that's still going to stay with the Great Dying.
And so, yeah, Talmanes is like, this has worked for this band. I'm going to go recruit the rest and basically be the king of the mercenaries.
Yeah, real briefly. I mean, people have been mistaking the band for mercenaries for so long. He might as well inhabit it.
I mean, even then, they were like, oh, yeah, you're just another mercenary band.
Right.
And he's like, no, we're heroes.
Right.
Sorry,
yeah.
Deal with it.
But, it works for now because they're moving fast. So, yeah.
Takes us to POV 3.
We skip forward yet again to a old Borderlander remedy for helping with the pain of a murder blade if you don't just want to off yourself immediately. Like, pack some herbs on it, choose some other herbs, and also have a flask of brandy. That's the old Borderlander, old cowboy trick for dealing with a rattlesnake bite. It's brandy.
Invented for this chapter.
Melton?
The blister leaf.
Oh,
this whole treatment.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like this, there was never any treatment for it before. There was never anything that delayed it. There was never anything effective that put it off. This is totally just like...
It's athelas. It's Kingsfoil. It's just a weed.
Mm-hmm. What's the one that keeps women from getting pregnant? The
heartleaf.
The heartleaf. It's just heartleaf. Totally effective, no side effects, non-processed herb that totally works 100% of the time, every time.
I mean, there is a strong argument that there may have been such a plant until it got picked into extinction by the pre-imperial Greeks.
I have heard of that, but
we'll never know because every plant that we think could have been it is extinct. So it's going to be real hard to prove it.
The only other reference to blister leaf I can find is when Moraine sticks it in Lan's clothes in New Spring.
Yeah, I thought that
to
sounded
make him
familiar. We just read about blister leaf. It is an old Borderlander trick because it's from the Borderlands. Maybe it's one of those, like, it does have side effects, but like the blistering somehow like helps. Like the fact that it's like a skin irritant, like fights with the toxin. Like, yeah, you'll get a rash, but like not for a couple of days. And by then you'll be dead anyhow. So it doesn't matter.
It's like poison ivy is basically what I thought it was.
Yeah, totally. So I'm thinking that poison ivy, somehow the poison of poison ivy like distracts the poison of a murderal cut. And that's why it works. Fight fire with fire, I guess.
I literally am now imagining this person being like, yeah, we put poison ivy on the wound. It's the only thing that seems to work. And someone's like, what the fuck? Like,
I mean, someone decided to eat solidified curdled milk one time. And now look at us.
Right.
You know?
Oh, my God. Oh, so I mentioned I was at a wedding this weekend. I'm eating food for me, you know, and one of the plates goes by and I pick up like a caprese that's like mozzarella and tomato on a stick. And I'm new to the whole not being able to eat cheese thing, right? And so, of course, I eat like 2 of them before my wife goes, "What are you doing? You can't have cheese." And so I got to spend last night in pain.
Oh, dude, that sucks. Caprese salad rules. Fresh tomato, fresh basil, fresh mozzarella.
So good. So good.
So summery.
But it's another confirmation of the fact that if I eat cheese, I will not have a pleasant night.
That sucks.
So I am learning. I'm learning. This is new to me. Before in the past, I've been able to get by with, cheese kind of always made me a little stinky. Don't get me wrong. I've always had a bit of a lactose problem, but I've been fine. It's just sucked for the people around me.
I come from the people with the genome. I have that enzyme. I'm made of dairy. Dairy is so good for me. It's so just, I need it.
Because it's a mutation of the Northern European stock.
It's arisen a couple of times. The Maasai also have it.
Sure.
Independently evolved because it's there, like we all digest milk as babies. So it's just a matter of like when enzymes do or don't turn off. So it's evolved a couple of different times, but yeah.
But I think my mostly Italian Spanish stock does not have that.
Yeah, I am neither Italian nor Spanish. I'm from farther north than that, where dairy is king.
Yeah. So, I mean, my mom is probably from that area and my dad is not. And so then I've been able to do dairy for quite some time, but now in my 40s, my body is like, no, fuck you. That's just not something we're going to process anymore.
I would like literally throw myself off of a cliff if I couldn't eat cheese. Like, I cannot imagine being denied dairy. Like, I need it. I need it.
I'm okay. I mean, for me, it's the yogurt is the loss more than the cheese.
Yeah. I mean, I need all the dairy. Yogurt is so important.
So, anyway.
Oh, chat is giving us factoids over here. Dr. Pants says that this is a real thing, this blister leaf plant, Anemone vesicatoria. It is a plant with numerous uses. One of them is a plaster over aching back and joints. The burning sensation often caused blisters and was considered beneficial for treating arthritis and rheumatism. So yeah, sometimes medicinally applied blisters are the appropriate treatment.
I mean, icy cold, right? Isn't that basically the same
icy
thing
hot?
where it's like icy hot, sorry.
Yeah. Stimulating blood flow in that kind of way to create that. It can help with being like, what if we just like moved all of the blood ingredients, like white blood cells and moving toxins away? Like, what if we just sped all of that up?
Right. And leeches also, there's even like leeches can help drain bad blood out of places like if you have, spots where it's not draining correctly.
Yep. Leeches do have a role.
Maggots are actually really good at eating dead flesh, right? Like
maggots are like the best way to deal with necrotized flesh. They don't cut you. They have this really discerning way to just eat the dead parts.
Which is exactly what you want when you want to get rid of the dead. Like there's been lots of reports of people who are homeless and the reason their whole leg doesn't rot off is because the part that is rotted, which is the foot, is infected with maggots and they keep it from spreading, which is horrible. And at the same time, you're like, oh, I kind of understand like how that happened from an evolutionary standpoint.
Right. And it is something that's used in medicine. It's one of those things where it's like, this actually works. It's weird. It's a wild niche thing, but it works so well that it's real medicine. It's not strange alternative medicine. It's a real medicine. Yeah. One of the only truly fake ones of those things is bloodletting. Leeches can have a role.
Yes.
Simply sticking a hole in your arm and letting the blood come out has basically no medical benefits at all.
Without some sort of, compartmentalization problem or something where the blood's not draining. Like we do drain blood out of areas where it's stuck. Yeah.
But it's I remember reading this like a year ago that it's one of the oldest, most continuously, most useless medical practices in all of history. Like
bloodletting?
Yeah. It has no demonstrable benefits aside from, when you have like an obvious like overburden. And yet it was like a mainstay of medicine for like 2,000 years, unbroken. Like there's a reason why the Lancet is called that, like it's just one of those wild medical anachronisms where it's like so many other things have come and gone. So many other things have managed to fail the test of proto-science, and bloodletting lasted way longer and more continuously than you would think. But yeah, leeches are actually pretty cool. Leeches have a role to play.
The next thing that I found, really, really almost offensive is Melton saying it's no natural poison. You can't suck it free. Most natural I think they've determined that sucking poison out is like doesn't do anything. It just destroys the tissue.
Really?
My understanding is that that's actually also like urban myth. Yes. Like the suction on, like they've just like, we don't do that anymore. Like suction is really bad for snake bites. Let me look this up just to make sure I'm not.
Last weird rabbit hole I fell down around snake bites was that guy who got bit by as many snakes as he could to try to make like universal antivenom. Real guy. Very strange man. I didn't know that about. I don't live in venomous snake country, so I don't have to worry about it.
So I'm looking at snakebitefoundation.org.
Well, that sounds completely sketchy.
Sounds completely legit. So just because they have a summary on it. But like, we are frequently asked about a first aid for snake bite patients. One of the most common questions is, do venom extractors and other commercial snake bite kits actually help? The short answer is no. Most advice about snake bite first aid that has circulated over the past 500 years is bad information. Things like pocket knives, suction devices, tourniquets, gunpowder, vitamin C, freezing, burning, and even electrocution have been advocated for snake bite first aid over the years. The only thing these treatments have in common is the high likelihood of making the situation worse.
Well, there it is then. That sounds pretty freaking solid. Okay.
Basically, and you want anti-venom, ASAP.
Yeah.
The idea that venom could be sucked out of a wound is intuitively satisfying and has been tried in all manner of formulations, starting with the ancient Blackstone of Middle Ages. It remains widely used today in many parts of Africa, despite numerous studies that have demonstrated to be entirely useless. However, like many things in science, just because it sounds good, like a good idea, doesn't mean it actually works.
Huh. Well, today I learned, and everyone in the audience learned too, it doesn't work.
They don't, basically they remove maybe a tiny minuscule amount of poison, but do an incredible amount of damage to the tissue when doing it. And so the trade-off is basically not worth it because it's not extracting enough poison to make a difference and destroying the tissue in the process of doing it.
That makes sense. I mean, snakes have been evolving this whole inject poison into the prey for many millions of years. It makes sense that it's evolved to be better than that, to get into you faster than that.
And just think about how fast your blood is flowing. They inject the venom and your blood flows, right? It's not sitting there at the surface for you to go get a suction thing, put it on there, suck it out. Like, it's just not happening that way.
Wow. Well, I'm really glad I don't live near venomous snakes, but at least now I know I don't have to do mouth to mouth with a snake bite if I'm ever in that situation. You just calm down, get your heart rate to slow the fuck down, and get some antivenom. Basically, call
911 and get the fuck out to a hospital as quickly as you can. Is about, and keep your heart rate down. That's really what you want to do. Is make sure you want your blood to pump as little as possible. Which sucks because
adrenaline.
Adrenaline. A little panicked. So that line really kind of bothered me. You know, it's not like a real poison. You can't. No, it's just like a real poison. You still can't suck it free.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good way to correct misinformation in the fantasy.
It's what we do.
It is what we do.
It's what we do.
All right. My next note is him just thinking about basically the plan, right? Risk getting cut off from the gate because you have to get to the palace. Because if you can get to the palace, you can find whatever resistance there is and maybe even a gateway that goes to the dragons.
And how much is it because there may be a healer there and he wants to live, right? He doesn't really think about that. But how much is it like, let's go to the palace first because I might be able to heal this wound in my side?
Yeah, he's pretty bad about hiding that he really wants to live. But, you know, there's a lot of good reasons. It just so happens one of those reasons lines up with his desire to live.
Totally.
And yeah, he gets handed brandy and he's like, I don't think I should drink in combat. Dude's like, trust me. I think like the next POV, he's like, the brandy's gone.
Yeah.
Like the brandy does not last.
No. It's like, because you're just dealing with so much pain that like drug him up. Get a little bit of antiseptic, anti-pain. Yeah, do you want this man curled in a corner, literally in a fetal position, unable to walk, or do you want him staggering along? Because those are your options right now. And maybe the alcohol does slow the spread. It seems like all these things are maybe slightly slowing the spread. You know what's really slowing the spread? What? Plot armor. We need him to last just long enough to either get healed or tragically die in Matt's arms. Like, he can't just die in the street. He has to, like, keep almost being dead, but not quite, because narrative stuff. Yeah, he's the leader of the Taviran's army, and the Taviran needs the army. He's basically Taviran understudy right now. He can't die. Yeah. There's too much spare Taviran drifting around. And of course, he's healed by none other than Nynaeve at the end. Not at the end of this chapter, but at the end of this
longer story that gets told when it picks up again. Yeah, because of course it would be Nynaeve because first of all, intense healing process, but also because Nynaeve cares about Matt. She's going to care about one of his best friends, even if she doesn't really know him. Like still, it's of course very appropriate that it not be some random Aes Sedai.
And this is the kind of healing where she uses an Angreal and it still like wears out one of the most powerful Aes Sedai with the powerful Angreal.
Well, because he basically survives against all odds, right? He literally borrows some of Matt's luck to pull this off. And I'm assuming that much like Tam, he loses quite a bit of years off the end of his life. I'm assuming he goes gray pretty early. You know, I don't think this man is living to 100. I think he's burned a lot of his total life force surviving this. He will get to die in bed, but I think he'll be maybe on the younger side when that happens. So yeah, Melton says, first of all, you're Dreadbane because you killed a Myrddraal. And also, I'm going to make it a point to stay with you throughout the battle to kill you when the pain becomes too much. I'm going to be here helping you out with when because you won't be able to kill yourself because you'll be in too much pain. So I'll do it for you.
It's every zombie apocalypse movie ever, right? You've gotten bit. But we've got to fight through these zombies. I'm going to fight with you through, to save the main character. So we're going to, go in knowing we're dead and kill each other if we see each other turn.
Yeah.
Not quite as vital because it's not like he's going to turn into a Myrddraal, but it's got that same, like, you've been bit. When you can't take it anymore, I'll take you out. It would be cool, though, if Myrddraal could, like, spread. Like, that's how you create a Myrddraal is by having them, like, kill somebody.
That would be pretty cool.
And the person would, like, taken over by the corruption of the Thakandar blade and slowly become Myrddraal.
That would be really cool, actually.
Be very, Mr. Smith from The Matrix.
Yeah, totally.
The way they all become identical, the same size, the same kind,
Fuji asks, in the transformation, would the eyes get popped out or sink in to the head?
So again, since I'm using a Matrix analogy, the way they make his mouth go away, it just kind of like forms together. I imagine the eyes would do the same thing where they just like merge together and disappear.
The eyelids just close over and then seam up and then
Yep.
Yeah, they would sink into the head, I think.
Right.
I think.
Yes.
I don't think they'd pop out.
And vanish. Yeah. It's horrific.
Yeah. So let's see. Talmanes misses Vannon, and then he gives us a very funny line. The city is going up faster than oil-soaked love letters to a High Lord's mistress. I enjoyed that line. Oil-soaked? They're not just love letters, they're oil-soaked love letters.
What does the oil imply?
I assumed it was either like perfume, like from being like really close to someone's body and getting like soaked with like the perfume that they wear, or literally soaked in oil to make them burn faster because that's how quickly things go in Tyrant affairs. Like literally lamp oil.
I kind of went with body oil was my idea, or like perfumed oil.
Yeah. Maybe letters that they were like reading to each other while they were rolling around naked in their bed or something. So they're all like, gross. Oh, tyrants. They're not even Kyrian, and I don't know why we're making them out to be so nasty. Yes, the tyrants do have oiled beards. Maybe it's beard oil. I don't know why there's beard oil on their letters. Maybe it's dripping off of their beards. That's gross. That's too oily of a beard. Yeah,
I was going to go with something even dirtier, but I don't think that works.
So yeah, they decide they're going to continue fighting up towards the palace, and then we can hop forward to the next POV. We are fighting more Trollocs, and now Talmanes is starting to hit his stride with attacking. He's now so committed to dying that he doesn't even care to save himself, and that makes him a much more effective fighter despite being drunk and in pain.
Right. It's like that moment in hockey where they pull the goalie out to go try and it's like you're behind and you're losing. You know you're going to lose, so you might as well pull your goalie out of the goal and risk lose by more in the chance that you may have, increased attack and do better. I've never seen it actually work in hockey. I'm sure those of you who watch hockey have. But in this case, it's like, yeah, they're not expecting the constant attack. They're not expecting him not to defend himself. And that's working for him.
Yeah. And he's not complaining out loud like Matt would, but he's having kind of Matt-like thoughts. Like, people who want to die in battle are fucking idiots. I just want to be at home with my pipe. Like, he thinks about how Matt would be cursing a lot and then he'd save them with brilliance. And all he's doing is mentally bitching and then yelling encouragement. But it has enough of the same effect. It's close enough to a Matt impression.
And I feel like that's a very common thing in battle to like, oh, the glory of battle. And then you get in and you get wounded and you're like, this fucking sucks. Like, I don't want to die like this. What? No, I didn't.
World War I in particular, right? When colonial violence that had been done at the frontiers suddenly came home to Europe, right? Like, oh, I thought it was glorious to die in battle. And it kind of was fun to be in a machine gun nest while men with spears ran at me. But now I have to run at the machine gun nest. I hate this.
Right. And, well, yeah, no kidding. And then also just the parallel of like guns being introduced into battle for the first time and people not knowing how to deal. Like that's a whole thing.
And then, Talmanes spots another fade. He realizes he has no brandy. And then right before everything all goes to hell, Charles Guybon and some of the Queen's Guard show up. And they kind of do a mutual saving of each other, get through that fight. And, now we're teaming up. We found some allies. This is good.
Because the only reason Guybon was able to rush out there is because he had already pulled all of those bad guys away from the gate, right? The Guybon's forces were pinned at the gate, defending the palace. Talmanes attacks them from behind. That pulls them away from the gate. And then Guybon goes, oh, I can go ahead and like, wait, why are they all running away? Maybe we can go attack them from behind. And that's exactly what he does. And so they get sort of pincered between two forces.
Yeah. And so now Talmanes has more humans to work with, and that's good because they were getting a little bit desperate there. But there was not enough Aes Sedai to hop over to the warehouse right away.
And I mean, the whole reason Guybon's defending the palace is because they're expecting someone, basically Elaine's messenger, to check in. Because they've been sending regular messages to Elaine at the Field of Marilor. And when those stop, they're hoping basically they're going to get the attention. Right? Because they have 4 channelers, 4 kin, who together can make a gateway, but 2 of them are dead.
Right, because it was a Darkfront attack, and they're kind of like, well, Elaine's going to come save us at some point when she notices that we're not checking in. Like, we'll get reinforcements. And Talmanes has to say, look, she's probably busy with something else and knows that there's a problem. Like, presumably shit is hitting the fan all over the place. She'll figure it out and she'll get to you when she can get to you. But right now, I need you to help me with this dragon mission. Like, right now. And Guybon, being a practical man, is willing to not abandon his post, but change what his post is on his own volition, because that's what the situation calls for. It's technically abandoning his post, but I mean, at a certain point, staying at your post is a dereliction of duty, right?
Staying there to tell the people who come in that your post has been overrun isn't really gonna, like, they're gonna come in and be like, oh yeah, this is overrun. Shit's on fire, yo.
Yeah, it's the walking into the room and everything's on fire and you just wanted to deliver a pizza, right? Like, it's, like, they'll figure it out. They'll figure it out. And the dragons are super important. Elaine would rather not have you pick up the phone than, let the dragons go away.
Right. Fall into the wrong hands. Because it's not just losing them, it's giving the technology to the enemy.
Yeah. And Guybon is so on board with that aspect of, the OPSEC that he adds himself to the party, right? He says, I'm coming with you. This is such an important mission. I'm coming with you. And he leaves some of his men at the palace to kind of distract the Trollocs to continue to allow the people to get out of the gate, the city gate.
Yeah, because you have lots of refugees that have come to the palace. He's thousands of refugees that they're protecting.
Right. And he's like, look, there is for now a corridor out. So work on that. But we got to go get the tech. And Guybon says, coming with you. And then we get to switch POVs again. And the next POV we hop in with Talmanes being told by the kinswoman Jessamine that she will not be able to heal him. Right? He had this little flicker of hope that maybe he could get healed. Maybe he didn't have to die. But nope. He's really going to have to lean into this whole being committed to already being dead thing.
Right. Because assuming she's just not that talented with healing.
Weak. She's just weak.
Yeah. Well, as we know, it took 4 to make a gateway, so...
And she says this wound is too far along for my skill. So yeah, she's not a healer. She doesn't have a lot of power. Like, she can help, with twisted ankles and burns, but this is a lot. It's going to take Nynaeve giving it her all with a tool.
Right. Interesting. She is actually a talented healer.
Oh, she is a healer. So when she says it's beyond her skill, that's letting us know that only Nynaeve is going to pull this off. If there was any doubt, in us as the audience that this was going to be solvable by anyone but Nynaeve. It's gone now. Okay.
And Jessamine is named for Jessamine Angelica, a fan of the Wheel of Time.
Oh yeah, we got to start doing the name thing again, don't we?
Yeah, now that we're back in the Wheel of Time Sanderson section, a lot of these characters are named for somebody else.
Good for them. So she's the only one left of the kinswomen, and they're kind of looking at the city, seeing that the only part of it that's not on fire is where the waygates are, or where the waygate is. And the Trollocs are pulling back to the city walls to just let the city burn. So the activities are kind of, simmering down for the night to an extent.
Well, and that area is clear because the Trollocs pulled down all the walls so they could see, and pulled down all the buildings around, so there's nothing to burn. Which, that's not really how pulling down buildings work, because they would have had to pull them down and then clear them out somewhere. Or are they taking the material into the gateway and just throwing it over the edge of the abyss? What?
And if you pushed all the buildings outward from the area you want to clear, right, and pushing them into each other and filling the streets with rubble, yeah.
But that rubble burns, right? Really easily.
Well, how much of it's stone and how much of it's wood? Right, this is a very stone-constructed city. So you're talking about a lot of interior walls and roofs, but a lot of the exterior walls are going to be at least partly stone, which makes them a lot harder to push over. So, I don't know. There's also a line later where he talks about how there's heat from the fires burning so hot that it's probably melting the stones, and I'm like, please define to me which stones those are, and then we can talk about relative stone melting points.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that, because I was like...
Because if that's granite, then no.
Because it's got to be wood burning, and it ain't jet fuel, right?
It's not even in a chimney shape, particularly. A bonfire is hot. I've seen what bonfires can do to, metal hardware on cabinets. I know kind of where that sort of melting point is. Cobblestones are going to shrug. They're going to get a little crispy, but they're not going to melt.
No, not without the one power involved.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Here's the line. The heat's so strong, it's probably melting the cobblestones. I'm like, I'm going to need you to tell me what those cobblestones are made of.
Stone and cobble?
Okay. So cobble is a size, actually. It's not a mineral thing. Yeah. It goes clay, dust, sand, gravel, cobble, boulder. So cobble is that, it's between gravel and a boulder, right? It's your basic fist to head sized kind of chunk. And so that's why they're called cobblestones. That's about the size of a rock you want. But yeah, it's a size definition. It's not a mineral or a chemical definition. So then I'm guessing they're made of stone. Yes. Stone also being a very ambiguous and non-scientific term. I mean, they don't even tell us if they're light or dark minerals that make up these rocks. At least we know the wood is made out of trees, and that's a very well-defined term. Yet trees, a thing that notoriously do exist, taxonomically speaking. them and fish. Vegetables as well. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was just thinking about this the other day, just how funny it is. We have these verbal things and these scientific taxonomic things, and how once you really try to marry the two things together, there's some really odd fits that leave some gaps to be desired. Yeah, the fact that fruits exist but vegetables don't kind of throws me for a loop. Yeah. Because vegetables are just, it's like, oh, but corn, that's a seed. Right. Strawberries, that's a stem. Lettuce, that's a fruit. Strawberries are stem material. Oh, that's right. Yeah, because they have the seeds on the outside. They're not even fruit. Yeah. The fruits are the seeds, but the thing we eat is actually just a swollen chunk of stem. It's a whole thing. But also, vegetables very much exist if you're in a kitchen. Right. In the culinary sense, vegetables are a very real category. Anyhow. Oh, interesting. Charles Guybon might be one of the first people named after, because Jordan actually named him after a fan. Yeah. Charles Guybon is named after a man whose wife won an auction for naming rights after I agreed to be a part of a fundraiser for an English charity that works with victims of torture. Neat. So that's actually named for a fan of the Wheel of Time before Sanderson. He's a unique name insert. Relatively unique, anyway. Mm-hmm. So yeah, Talmanes is no longer fighting. He's too weak to fight. He's just staggering behind the fighting line, watching what's happening. Doing what most bosses do, supervise while they sit on their ass. I mean, he is leaning on his sword and staggering down the street. I wouldn't say he's lazy. But yeah, he's leading from the back, which is what good supervisors do. right? He's trying to manage the operation, not getting slaughtered because he can't even swing a sword anymore. Because he's got to see the dragons protected, right? That's his entire mission in life. And they get to the warehouse, and it looks like the warehouse has burned down and everyone's gone, and it's very sad. And no, it's not sad. Aludra has more agency than that. She's not just going to sit on her ass and wait to be rescued.
No, she's already rescued them. She's like, here's Talmanes being like, I'm going to rescue the cannons, and there's always a woman who's done it first. It's like, yeah.
She does say, you took your sweet ass time getting to me. She was clearly expecting him to show up eventually. But yeah, she's got 1,000 refugees conscripted into her little emergency mobile force. So she's got not only the dragons, but 1,000 people all being kept safe for the moment, waiting for, a larger rescue force. But she's taken agency, not just for her tech, but also for random people. Yes, because she needed them to push the carts around, but also, competent woman.
Right. No, looking back at the series, I think Aludra is definitely slept on as one of the most competent women. Like, she invents gunpowder, guns, cannons. She gets someone to fund it. She builds it. She has it, and she's very effective.
Yeah.
Very, very effective. Yeah.
Oh, and then we have the really good scene with Talmanes where he's too weak to fight. And then he starts laughing in the face of a Fade because why not? And men say he doesn't have a sense of humor. And he just eats the Fade for breakfast. Just goes out there, just absolutely butchers it. And it is surprised, right? He starts taking hits on him and he doesn't respond. And that confuses the Fade. And that gives him the edge he needs to fight it because he figures out the secret to fighting them is you have to already be dead.
Well, it's that moment where the Fade nicked him and expected him to recoil in horror. And when he didn't, that just threw the Fade for a loop. And he used that moments of hesitation to win the battle. And it's like, yes, you've accepted you're already dead. And that gave you, the ability to continue. And it's like, oh, that's how Lan probably wins, right?
I didn't come to win. I came to kill you.
Yeah, exactly. You just don't worry about dying. You just kill them.
As the Aiel say of Rand, he has embraced death. And that makes him more flexible, more fluid, more adaptable, more likely to survive, more likely to succeed. Sometimes you sheathe the sword and you walk away.
Not fearing death makes it a little more likely to not die, and I see that a lot. Like, anxiety can rule your life. I know that. I've lived that. Like, you cannot enjoy things because you're afraid you won't enjoy them.
Right. Or even on a less dramatic scale, how rushing usually actually slows you down?
Right.
Right. If you actually just proceed at the normal pace of things, you'll probably get whatever you're trying to do done as fast as if you had freaked out and run around with a chicken with your head cut off,
Slow is smooth, smooth is fast.
Right.
Yeah.
Very much so. Very much so. If you want to be a little bit less existentially death versus life about it, it's the same deal. Sometimes worrying about the outcome is what makes the outcome worth worrying about.
I like that. So what are these explosions that are going on?
I was wondering about that.
Because he says they're not loud enough to be dragons.
But she's holding a cylinder in her hand, so she might be throwing...
Oh, they're the grenades.
Yeah, she's throwing grenades.
They're grenades. That's what the explosions are.
She's got more than one explosion up her sleeve.
Right.
Yeah, so Talmanes says, we have to get them out. And Aludra says, it is a new revelation to you?
He's like, well, I'm communicating with you. Jeez, God.
She's like, communication is not okay in my Wheel of Time.
What are you doing? We don't communicate in this Wheel of Time.
And then she's like, you all right? He's like, smiling just seems garish. I'm fine. She's like, and the veins? And then he notices that all of his veins are black. And because he is a, decently pale man, that is very dramatic. That is a very dramatic look. He looks haggard. He looks like shit. He's probably a little on the dehydrated side. And now all of his veins are black. So he looks like a walking nightmare.
And I will once again reference a series that I've talked about many times before, but the Lycanus trilogy. There's actually a group of people who have their magic stolen from them. And the mark is all their veins turn black.
Also, if you've been playing Baldur's Gate and you make certain choices and you don't have a certain mod to make it not happen, all of your veins go black. I played it like that once, and then I got the mod that makes it not do that because I want the powers. I don't want the weird look. It looks really unsettling.
Veins turning black is definitely a fantasy trope of like corruption and evil.
Oh, yeah, in The Witcher, too. Yeah. No, black eyes, black veins. I get why you do it for the magic reasons, but don't do that to my character in Baldur's Gate. I want the cool powers, though.
And then you get some of that dry humor. This is a little more show not tell, is when she says, "What's wrong with your face?" And he goes, "I once ate a sharp cheese and it has never quite sat right with me." Because he always has like a slight scowl. He doesn't smile. And I'm sure that's a line he's used.
Oh, resting bitch face for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, resting bitch face right there. Yeah. He basically, I ate a sour cheese as was like a lemon, right?
And then he gets told, there's more Trollocs, and he says, "Lovely, set the table," right? He gets really deep into his sarcasm. Like, I think it's not just Sanderson being a lazy writer. I think he's also trying to communicate, like, the loopiness is getting really bad.
Right. And Sanderson writes really bad, corny humor pretty well, because that's the only kind of humor he's got.
He's got real dad humor energy going on.
Yeah,
and like the
dad humor,
really
for sure.
Annoying kind. But
he also has religious person humor.
Yes. So Talmanes and Aludra now have to decide what they're doing with the dragons, right? She says, I can't, I've got a few shots for each dragon, right? She was kind of already thinking about blowing them up. And then Talmanes says, I need a horse, probably, to continue forward. And then we switch POVs. And as of the beginning of the next POV, he'd fallen off the horse not long after starting for the gate. Like, the horse doesn't even last.
Like, the horse gets him to the next POV. I think it's important that he has it, but now it's like, okay, we are deteriorating. First we're walking, now you need a horse. Now not even the horse is good enough to keep you going.
Yeah. And he's, starting to think about, like, I should have teased Matt more. Like, he's out of it. He's really starting to slip towards the great light in the sky. Now we've got Denel talking with Aludra about the strategy, right? Now Denel is the one who's in charge of the operation. And Aludra's saying, these are not machine guns, dude. They're not Aes Sedai. I can throw off a few rounds. I can't make a wall of fire to keep the Trollocs back.
They're also not landmines, right? He's like, oh, if we just take the balls and put them on the ground, when people step on them, they'll explode. And she's like, no. And it's just like, this is a new technology. And the people whose job it is to come up with the strategy to fight don't understand. That's why Aludra is so important to be there, because she's the only one who really understands how they work. These aren't magic balls that explode when enemies touch them.
Right, exactly. But you have to know how fireworks work on this whole other level in order to think about them strategically.
Mm-hmm. Until you see it working, until you understand how guns work and gunpowder works and cannons work, which these people don't, because they've never seen it implemented.
Yeah, totally. And so then Melton comes over to Talmanes and is like, dude, you look like you're ready for me to put you out of your misery. So, it's been an honor. And then Talmanes is like, all right, cool. No, never mind. I'm not ready to die. Never mind. I'm good. I want to continue being alive in all this pain. Let me talk to Aludra. Gets back into the fight.
Which is an interesting way to be like, he was able to the pain was enough to take him out. And he's like, wait a minute, I don't want to die. I can overcome the pain for a little bit longer.
I can't tell if that's some sort of weird religious aversion to suicide, or if it's just Talmanes is that much of a badass and found he had one more little pocket of resistance in his soul. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to take from that. I don't know.
If you go back, and again, this is just because I've read Sanderson so much, Elantris has a very similar moment where the main character, spoilers for Elantris, end of the book, it's his first book that came out, going for it. At the end of that book, the main character is in this point, because the whole point of that book is nobody can heal, right? Whatever, you're stuck in whatever state you are. So you stub your toe hurts like you just stubbed it for the rest of your life, right? And so by the end of the series, the main character is in so much pain that he's gone completely insane, because like all the various injuries, and because he's more powerful, it affects him more, yada, yada, yada. And so he's completely out of it, and like he's lost his mind. And then he has this moment where he's like, no, not yet. I have one more idea where I can come back and figure out the solution to our problem. So I'm going to come out of madness, out of sickness, and fix the problem with magic and allow myself to heal, essentially. And this feels very similar, where you have this character who is in so much pain, and he's just not even functional anymore, but he has one last idea, which is flip the cannons around. And he comes out of it long enough to tell everybody, flip the cannons around and we can survive.
It makes for a good heroic moment, but it just feels so like the power was inside you the whole time, victim blamey of people that are literally dying.
Yeah.
I have a confused emotional reaction to that when it's used over and over and over again. Once or twice, once at the end, big, huge climax, semi-divine person, okay, but when it's every good heroic character, it starts to make me wonder, like, so are everyone who doesn't do that, like, bad people or not good?
Mm-hmm. The people who gave into the pain,
they just didn't try hard enough? I don't like that. That gives me an icky feeling.
But it is a fantasy trope, right? There is the you are overcome, and then you have the realization, you level up, you go super sane, you know, whatever it is that you do that lets you access that next level of power and ignore the pain, ignore the burden, ignore the list, right? That is very common in fantasy. But this in particular feels almost beat for beat like the Elantris ending.
And yeah, it's really common in fantasy, and I wonder how much of that is part of the problem with how we approach some of these dire situations in real life. A whole other podcast worth of topics.
Yes.
I do like the part where he thinks about how the pain is dulling like glowing flames running out of fresh coal. I do like that sort of that arc to his thing of like, okay, it really burned me up, and now it's just sort of the last logs, the last coals, the last edges around the campfire. I've been around a lot of raging like pallet fires, flames, 30 feet tall. And then, a few hours later, it's just this ring of smoking, burned out bits that you can kick together to kind of burn up again. And so I like that visual as Talmanes is like thinking about like what he has left to give. And then, Ludra comes over and says, I've set the charges under the dragons to destroy them. We want to scuttle the technology. The charges, they will destroy the weapons. They may hurt the people in an unpleasant way, right? Saying these people that we've collected and protected and brought into this space, we are choosing to meat grinder them when we set these charges off.
Because you're essentially creating a shrapnel bomb in them. I mean, these are giant chunks of metal that you're blowing up.
Yeah, not small chunks of shrapnel, big chunks.
That are designed to withstand explosions inside of them. So, like, that's also why I'm kind of like, does she even have explosions big enough to destroy these tubes? She can destroy the carts, right, and everything around them, but would it actually... or are cannons weaker from the outside? Is blowing them up from the outside going to cause them to compress, whereas they're stronger on the inside? Like, is that something that's going on with cannons?
I also wondered about that. Maybe just the idea of if they were flung far enough, then when they hit, they're going to end up, bending enough that they'd be unusable. Essentially dropping them, right, by pushing them so hard with an explosion.
I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I found that a little bit questionable too. But... I also see that, it's the last desperate act. Just pile all your gunpowder around the most vulnerable parts and hope.
Right.
I mean, they don't have Aes Sedai, right? Like, how else are they going to try to scuttle these things? Fire them at each other? Like, that might not be very effective.
I like Dr. Pant's analogy here, the fighting through cancer. Like, describing the battle with cancer as a battle, right, is just a terrible way of doing it, because that means that people who died didn't fight hard enough, which is not... Yeah,
you weren't strong enough inherently, and it's like, that's not how it works.
That's not how that works, yeah.
Like, emotionally, it's good to be like, oh, yeah, they're emotionally strong, they're going to emotionally get through this. But yeah, when it slips into, well, you just didn't believe, you didn't pray, you didn't whatever hard enough, and that's why you died, like, it's a slippery slope from they can handle this emotionally to they should have just prayed harder.
Or maybe they prayed hard enough, but God didn't like them because they weren't XYZ good enough, pious enough.
It's a real slippy slope with a lot of different on-ramps. But yeah, so the crew realizes that they are pressed against a wall, and that's the problem. Pressed against a wall.
And that wall is covered in hundreds of Trollocs, thousands of Trollocs, right? So, by blowing up the wall, you're also killing all the Trollocs on the wall, which is a huge number of enemies.
Yeah, you change the entire balance of the equation for the whole battlefield if you can shatter a wall covered in troops. Like, that just changes everyone's calculus. And he's like, hey, you said you could take down an enemy wall, right? That we could do that, right? And Charles Guybon goes, oh, Elaine's going to be so mad at me. Right? Like, Talmanes and Matt both have their boss is going to be mad at them for the things they've had to choose to do in order to get through this.
But there's a reason modern cities don't have walls, and it's because once you have cannons, walls are pointless.
Yep. Literally, cannons do negate the concept of a fortified wall as a safety mechanism for a city. So it's appropriate here.
It's like they're really good at deflecting arrows, not so much good at deflecting cannonballs.
Yeah. And for a while, they kept building the walls thicker and thicker. But, you know, in that arms race, ultimately, cannons could go faster than earthworks. But there's some very thick walls from the early gunpowder period when it was like, oh, we'll just double the thickness of the wall and then it's fine. Like, some of those are pretty well preserved now because they're impressive earthworks.
Right. And they didn't actually get fired on.
The guns in those days were as dangerous to fire as they were to be fired at with, right?
Right. Oh, my God. I mean, I just watched a video of someone trying to fire an RPG and it exploding next to his head and basically taking him out, you know? I mean, explosives are still incredibly dangerous to fire.
Yes.
No, I think he was using a modified, like, aftermarket. Basically, someone sold them an RPG and cut it up so it couldn't be used, and someone welded it back together so it could be used, and they did not do a good job.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like it was according to the manufacturer's directions.
No, yeah. So my understanding based on, 5 minutes of looking at an internet video.
Well, that seems like more research than most people do these days, so congratulations. So yeah, they spin some of the dragons around, and the refugees all get the memo that they need to duck real quick.
Like a record, baby, right round, right.
And yeah, Talmanes, Guybon says, my poor city, and Talmanes says, oh no, it's not your city anymore. Like,
No, it's not.
It's not.
Because the Trollocs, they came out of the Waygate. The Waygate, no, remind me where the Waygate in Camlyn is located.
It's like under some building. It's in a basement, right? The city has grown over it. And I don't recall the building on top being given much mention other than that it's just on top and it's a wall in a basement now.
Because part of me was like, isn't it in the palace? And I was like, no, it's not in the palace.
No, it's in a nicer part of town, but it's not in the palace. And Talmanes has one last hurrah in him, and he is the one that actually lights the cannons that fire on the walls. And that is how we end today's episode, is with a fantastic explosion.
Give me one of those bloody punks. Which, by the way, give me one of those bloody punks is one of those phrases that, like, would fit in the 80s as well.
Right, yeah, totally.
Those goddamn punks.
Yeah, totally.
But punk in this case refers to basically a burning stick.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't quite know what the full etymology of that is, but yes, it's a stick intended for lighting fuses. It's smoky, it burns well, it's not going to go out or light up too fast. It's punky. I've used the word punky to describe firewood, or wood that we wanted to be firewood. Punky wood is like light and crumbly and eaten by termites and not really good for burning. But it is very smoldery, so I could see punky wood actually being quite useful in the case of being a fuse lighter thing.
A punk is a smoldering stick used for lighting firework fuses. It is safer than a match or a lighter because it can be used from a greater distance and does not use an open flame. They are made of bamboo and a brown coating of compressed sawdust. Punks often resemble sticks of incense, and in some countries, actual incense sticks are used in a similar fashion.
Yeah, sawdust, like, that's basically what termites leave behind is sawdust. So, oh yeah, okay. So yeah, all I have left is for you to read us out.
Give me one of those bloody punks, Talmanes shouted, holding out a hand. One of the Dragoneers obeyed, passing him a flaming brand with a glowing red tip. Shouldn't be flaming, but whatever.
Yeah, literally, that's why it's a punk, so it's not on whatever.
As we just discovered, God damn it. He pushed away from Melton, determined to stand on his own for the moment. Guybon stepped up. The man's voice sounded soft to Talmanes' strained ears. Those walls have stood for hundreds of years. My poor city. My poor, poor city. It's not your city any longer, Talmanes said, raising his flaming brand high in the air, defiant before a wall thick with Trollocs, a burning city to his back. It's theirs. Talmanes swiped the brand down in the air, leaving a trail of red. His signal ignited a roar of dragonfire that echoed throughout the square. Trollocs, pieces of them at least, blew into the air. The wall under them exploded like a stack of children's blocks, kicked at a full run. As Talmanes wavered, his vision blackening, he saw the wall crumble outward. When he toppled, slipping into unconsciousness, the ground seemed to tremble from the force of his fall.
Good, beautiful, analogous chaos. We love to see it.
Him falling as the wall fell. Great combo, great way to demonstrate. And do I think perhaps he should have died there and that would have been better for his character? Maybe. I do like having him in the later book, but I think that like that moment of he fell and discovered the true consequences of gunfire and stuff like that, and it spread, like...
To have Matt lose one of his most trusted and important people in that moment of, and this is how gunpowder takes down walls, also to lose the strong, comforting wall that is Talmanes.
Right.
Losing him here would have been really good. I think we would be just as in love with Sanderson's Talmanes, even if he had just died here and that was all we got of him.
And it's just the first of many, many, many... I wouldn't call them death fake-outs necessarily, but like the chapter ends with a statement that could be the death of a character, and later you find out he's not dead.
Yeah, this one I didn't feel faked out on at all, but it could have been.
No. And that's why I hesitate to use the fake out.
Yeah, it's not a fake out, not truly.
It's all these like uncertain, like, and the character fell, and then darkness took him, and you're like, is he unconscious or is he dead? You're not being specific. And so you can bring him back later if you want, or you can be like, oh yeah, he died in that moment.
Yeah.
And I almost don't like that very much, because I'd rather just be like, oh my God, like his head was cut off. He's dead. Like, you know, I want to see the bodies.
Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor.
But either unambiguously live or unambiguously die, right? I don't want to see this like ambiguous death that later you get to find out whether or not. And I know it's a method of building tension. I just don't like it. It's
overused. It's overused by Sanderson in this book. This one doesn't bother me because it is the prologue. And I'm like, I mean, he's a pretty cool character. It'd be nice if he could at least like make it to a numbered chapter before he dies. But yeah. Also, if he died here, I would have been like, okay, so the stakes are real. I guess there we go, you know?
Right. I just think from a storytelling place, I think it would have been better to have him die here and just have someone else step up and take his place. But then we would have missed some of the really nice interaction between him and Matt later on. So, and
I'm not mad with Matt's epicness rubbing off on his second guy, you know?
No, I'm not
That's
either.
cool.
I'm not either. Yeah.
On the man that should have been his husband instead of that bitch empress.
Yeah, that's how he should have become a noble, marrying Talmanes.
Exactly. Talmanes has plenty of noble rank to share. He's got enough boots.
I think he's got enough boots is a good way to end the episode.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks for joining us again this week and joining us for A Memory of Light. Like, I'm very excited to have you guys all along for that journey. The 14th step in this long, long journey of the Wheel of Time.
Recording is on, and I was just telling Seth, and now I want to tell all of you about how much fun I am having watching Netflix's adaptation of Little House on the Prairie. I have been watching it with my mom, and we just talked about it over on Used to Sew. We've gotten through 5 of the 8 episodes so far, so we haven't watched the whole thing yet, but we both agree that the costume department was definitely the best paid department in the production of this show. The costumes are incredible. So much storytelling coming through them, so much historical accuracy. We did see a sewing machine. And we were very excited because there is a sewing machine in the books. It does feature in like an arc of Laura's life briefly. And there's just a brief glimpse of it, and we screenshotted it and we looked real close. And my mom pointed out some of the field marks on it. And it's a Singer. You can see the ironwork thing that says Singer in the treadle stand. It's in the window. It's very obviously a Singer. But it has what did she say? It has a face-mounted tension. So it sticks out the side of the faceplate, and a round service panel on the back to get to the parts in the pillar. And that means that it's a 15 class Singer, which did not get patented until the 1890s. The show is set in 1864 or so.
So trash TV, just absolute trash TV.
Yeah, the show is completely garbage.
Yeah,
there's absolutely no redeeming qualities because they got this one prop 20 years anachronistic. But like, it's just a great show.
Toss that baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah, if you ever read Little House on the Prairie books, this is a really beautiful mix of faithfulness to the books and new historical context.
Having not read the books, sell me on. Like, what's going on with the books? Like, why would I read the books?
Okay, so the books are a classic piece of American propaganda about how good manifesting the destiny was.
Oh, okay.
The books are actually written primarily by Laura Ingalls Wilder's daughter, Rose Wilder, and she is one of the founding mothers of libertarianism.
You're not selling me on these books.
So, but let me finish. So the context is that Rose is an up-and-coming libertarian, and her mom starts writing her memoirs as a grandmother. She decides to start writing, when Grandma was a little girl, these are my memories. And her daughter decides we need to spin this up into a whole literary thing. So the books are, first of all, like 50 years in the past just as memories from the jump. And then Rose has a very strong political angle that she wants to push, which is that everyone on the frontier was completely independent and Denver needed help from anyone. That kind of stuff, right? We're talking like the 1920s, I think, is when a lot of that was happening.
Okay.
But the core of the books are a woman remembering what it was like to deal with being a small child in an illegal land invasion in the Midwest, right? Her dad, because he was a dumbass, takes them out into Indian country before it is legal to settle there. So they literally do the frontline illegal squatting that becomes proper legal manifest destiny. And she has a lot of very vivid recollections of like the technology, the smells, the way that people interacted, but all from like a little kid's perspective. So it's really awesome books if you want to be a little kid reading about what it was like to be a little kid in another time, right? The memories are very visceral. It's like really tactile books for little kids.
And so it's memoirs more than fiction.
Yeah, it's a very fictionalized memoir. But yes, it is fundamentally a memoir. And it runs from, so they start out in the woods of Wisconsin, and then they go out to Independence, Kansas, and then ultimately to DeSmet, Iowa? And that's where they settle permanently. And the books cover from when she's like 4 to 24. They kind of speed up near the end, like when she's a teenager. But the first 4 books are like from when she's 4 to 14, right? So that really vivid kid part of your formative life. And they deal with wild stuff, like there's a whole locust invasion thing, and the railroad comes, and there's a really intense winter that like is attested in the historical record. But so in the 70s, there was a TV show made of Little House that, as my mom puts it, was mostly an excuse for Michael Landon to take his shirt off and cry on camera.
Okay.
It's most of it very loosely based on the books. So this is much closer to retelling the books, but now it's retelling it in terms of like, so from the perspective of the adults in the room, from the perspective of the Osage who were being illegally squatted on, from the perspective of all these different kinds of people on the frontier. How does this story go? And here's this cute little family with this dumbass paladin dad just like trying to be all, smiley and hopeful with his fucking fiddle, and his little tomboy daughter Laura.
And you were saying the set design works really well because it was a brandly new constructed settlement, and then obviously they built it for the series, but then it looks brand new, and it is brand new because both in the story and in real life, it was built brand new.
Right, yeah. So the costumes and the sets were all very well designed for this whole show. So much storytelling in the costumes. And yeah, they built the town. They built the set of the town. And so like normally when you're watching TV and you're like, oh, that timber looks really new and all that paint looks barely dry. And that is taking me out of my suspension of disbelief. In this case, it's very accurate, right? Like episode 2, the post office gets finished, right? This is a town that is being thrown together as fast as possible. And it's all, and they show so much of like the technology they had to use to put the, like to cut the timber. Oh my God, there's just so much cool stuff in the sets. And like I was telling you that there's this one guy who he's very sad. And you can tell before he opens his mouth and gives you any of his backstory that he is sad about having lost a woman in his life. Because he's living in this like, can barely be called a shed. It's like a pile of planks sort of like leaned against a tree trunk. And he's technically living in it. But like his shirt is mended so badly, like crudely. The stitches aren't even, they're big, they're on the outside of the seams. The fabric is completely ratty and hasn't been replaced. And then in the same shot, you see, Pa Ingalls, who has, a loving wife at home, and like his shirts are perfectly neatly stitched. All the repairs are very tidy, right? He's a working man with no money. So like there's definitely visible mending, but it's neat. And so before Mr. Edwards even opens his mouth and tells you any of his backstory, you're just like, oh, this man is sad. Like, look at how bad his shirt is put together. Like, the repairs barely even count as repairs. So it's really just, and like not all of them, but there's a lot of creative use of plaids and stripes, and the stripes just perfectly match. And like, you can tell different aspects of people's social class. Like, so there's Ma Ingalls, right? Poor, hardworking frontier woman. There's Miss Emily, who runs the store. Very prosperous, but like still working class. And then there's Mrs. Jones or James or something. And she's like the fancy snobby lady. And like the number of frills on each of their clothes, right? Ma Ingalls has like a little bit of frill. Right, exactly. Yeah. It's that kind of energy. Like the fancy lady in the stupid Victorian house is just frothing with frills. There's just so much frills all over all of her clothing. And then Miss Emily has like she has a very nice dress, extremely nice fabric, and like some frills. Not as many as the fancy lady, but more than the woman working out on the edge of town where the Ingalls are. And it's just, so much of the technology is so accurate, and like the clothes are aged properly. Like the hems are dusty from walking across the prairie.
Which, and I think one of the reasons I really wanted to record this and talk about it is because like we watched the Wheel of Time TV show and how they failed to properly age the clothes. Rand and Matt, after walking out of a fucking 3 months of dusty walking, came out with brand new clean clothes somehow. Right? Like, and I don't know. Who would have thought fans of the Wheel of Time would care about storytelling through clothing?
I
Can't
know.
imagine that's in the series at all or anything, right? Like
it's so much more than Moraine is wearing blue, right?
Right.
It's like Ma has a dress that she keeps wearing from workday to workday to workday. And so you can tell that the neck is kind of stained. And then she's got like a nice collar that she can attach to it for making it fancier. And like you can tell when they're dressing up real hard to try to impress people versus when they're like, I'm going to be crawling around in the mud anyway. I might as well wear this. They've only got a few changes of clothes, but like you can see that they've been using them. Yeah, all of the gear looks worn, except for the lumber, again, because the lumber has all just been cut down. And all of the Osage costumes also. Again, we do not have generic pan-Indian amalgamation stuff. We have, like, very detailed and accurate traditional garb, as well as more, like, hybridized garb. Like, there's this one family where the dude really wants to assimilate. He's like, if the white people are coming anyway, we might as well try to play by their rules and assimilate and keep something of our land and our traditions. And he's got a style of house that's very Southern. It's very like my mom was explaining, it's like a Louisiana house. And then there's like the fancy lady from back east who orients around Pennsylvania, and she's got like more of the Victorian style house, which might also be anachronistic. And then there's like the actually still very fiercely traditional people where we haven't seen their home site yet, but I'm assuming at some point we're going to go out to like a traditional Osage village, because some of the costumes they're just so, I'm like, you have to show us their houses, right? If you're going to show us people dressed in that many bones, with that many feathers, with that kind of body paint, surely I get to see their houses too, right? Right? And the writing's good too. I've really enjoyed the character development and the different dynamics. Like, I mean, the books originally, right, because of Rose very like, oh, and then everyone was independent and anyone who needed help was a terrible person for needing help. And like first episode, you have the doctor who helps them after their first, scary incident being like, so you do realize that nobody makes it alone out here, right? Like he has this whole great speech about like, so as a person who's been living here for a few years, I can tell you, you will die unless you reach out to people for help. And he literally says it's a pretty story that everyone out here is independent. And I'm like, the fourth wall has been shattered into 1,000 pieces with that line. But I'm enjoying it tremendously. Like I said, I still have 3 episodes to go.
I can tell just by like, you are just absolutely enthusiastic on this. It's wonderful. Yeah.
It's so much fun. My mom and I are having the greatest time. And like every time there's a quilt, we're like, quilt! Like Leonardo DiCaprio, like pointing at the TV, like, and they're basic quilts. They're not fancy, elaborate quilts. They're very basic quilts with like traditional, like the wagon wheel patch design. And it's just, yeah. Even though there's definitely some whitewashing, there's definitely still some, America propaganda, Manifest Destiny shit. Like it is such a massive update on the TV show from the 70s and on the original books. Like if you enjoyed the concept of Laura Ingalls growing up in that world and those books were a big part of your life growing up, like this is a worthwhile show to engage with. It's definitely, I think, should be included in the canon of the Little House myth. Because, as a country, as a culture, we've decided that the story is important. So, it's kind of like the Odyssey in a lot of ways. It's just a lot more recent.
It's an American, because America's not that old. So an American Odyssey isn't that old.
Yeah, but it's a multi-generational story, right? My mom grew up on them. And then when I was that same age, I grew up on them too, right? Like, you might as well engage with this excellent new telling.
And I know my mother also grew up on them, right? I know she was a fan of the books, she was a fan of the show, right? Like, but I never, something I never picked up.
Yeah, the show was not good. Also, the main reason why the show sucked, aside from Michael Landon being stupid, is that Michael Landon was clean shaven. And one of the most visceral sense memories Laura has of her father is that he had a scritchy beard. Like, you can't take that away. You can change how he talks to people. You can change what the name of the town is. You can change what his job was. I don't care. You can't change his beard. The beard is too integral to this little girl's memories. But oh my God, the costumes. The costumes, you guys, you need to appreciate the costumes. Go listen to Used to Sew, the episode that we have about that. It will be out, I think, just before this one comes out. Seriously, like, listen to me and my mom rant about it. Okay, I'm done now.
I'm stuck in wedding season. I've got Never's friends are getting married, right? They're just of the age where...
Oh, she's a trendsetter?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, my God. So, because we invited a bunch of people to our wedding, right, who are in couples, who are now getting married, And
you had a sweet, beautiful wedding.
We're getting invited back to all of these weddings, right? So, yeah, no, it's been... I think it's going to be 4 weddings this summer.
Oh, yeah, that's a lot of weddings. That's a lot of weddings.
So, and she's in all of them. It's not like we're going to them. She's like bridesmaid in all of these.
Ah.
Right? So it's like...
You're part of the wedding.
Yeah. These are big deal weddings, right, for her. So, yeah, we went on Sunday to a wedding. I guess it's 3 this summer. We had 1 last summer. So I'm kind of counting that in the group of 4. But, yeah, it definitely feels like wedding season. So, yeah, I had a lot of fun. Got to see 2 of my good friends get married. And, yeah, never played matchmaker with 2 friends. So, we'll see how that goes. And, yeah, the wedding was nice. Very simple. They did a knot tying ceremony. Didn't exchange vows. So the whole ceremony itself was like, I think, less than 10 minutes. And then afterwards was just a party, no speeches, about 35 people total. So pretty small wedding, but had a lot of fun. And the dancing went on for a couple hours because that's all the bride wanted. She's like, I want people to dance. So we danced for a couple hours. I'm getting better at dancing, as I'm discovering. I had a lot of trouble with it. Being on the dance floor was very difficult for me, I think, as a kid. And now I can go out there and just be like, well, I'm going to be stupid and do the white man, bob back and forth dance. And at the end of it, I had a couple of people come up and be like, I'm glad, because it was mostly women on the dance floor. And it was like, thank you for like coming out to the dance floor and staying out. Because again, a wedding of 35 people, some of which are elderly, there's just not that many people for the dance floor.
Right,
to maintain a dance floor for a couple of hours, you pretty much have to have everyone dancing most of the time who can dance. So yeah, that was my Saturday or Sunday.
Nice.
And of course, because my wife's in the wedding party, it's like, yeah, you're trying to... Anyway, it's very unnatural for me. I'm getting better at it.
Well, that's good. It sounds like you're going to need the practice.
Yeah. 2 more. Two to go. 2 down, 2 to go.
Nice.
Thank you for listening to the Wheel of Time Spoilers podcast. Please rate and review us on your podcast app, and consider supporting us on Patreon for ad-free episodes. What Spoilers is a production of Fox and Raven Media. For more podcasts from Fox and Raven Media, visit our website at foxandravenmedia.com.